What's up? I have a special guest here today.
Oh, so honored to be the special
Ambassador
guest.
Thomas Hemingway.
All
We are
right.
coming live today. He's sipping on his smoothie here. This is actually the same thing I had this morning. I had a chocolate lean.
Some days this is breakfast. This is chocolate lean.
With a third of a banana and some milk, actually.
But see, I'm
regular
being
milk.
true to what I talk about. It's noon and I'm having breakfast. So.
Yes, I just had mine about a half an hour ago.
And I went mountain biking with my kids this morning. So
Yep.
got to get it done
Lisa.
first. Exercise first, or it may never happen.
I know, right? I haven't done mine yet today, but I already have a plan for it this afternoon.
She's got a plan.
I got a plan. There's always a plan to get my movement in. So we'll give a couple seconds for people to hop on here for this live, but I invited Thomas to come live with me today. Hey, Gabrielle. Because we wanted to just get real and talk about some things around family and relationships. Oh no, you can't hear us, Lisa.
Do I have a mustache?
Can everybody else hear us? Melissa, Gabrielle, Amber, can you guys
Give
hear
a
us?
thumbs up or a yes if you can hear us.
Give us a thumbs up. Make a comment that says you can hear us.
As far as I can tell, we haven't muted ourselves, but you never know.
Just want to make sure.
Can you hear us?
She can hear us. All right, awesome.
All right.
Okay, so we wanted to go live today and we wanted to talk about the reality of building a business, having a marriage. Maybe you're not married, maybe you are in a relationship or you have a partner, or maybe you are a single parent and so the relationship is with your children. And so we wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about our journey and talk about how things have shifted and the adjustment and maybe how to communicate better and how to approach, for example, if you have a husband or you have a partner or maybe you don't, but you've got older children and you need more partnership and more equality and more help and more understanding. And so we really just wanted to talk honestly about those things because I think this is something that not a lot of people talk about, but a lot of people struggle with. Like, I see comments all the time from primarily women that are like, my husband doesn't support what I do, or he doesn't believe in what I do, or he doesn't, like, I just don't have any family support, or, I'm a mom and I'm so busy and I can't do this because I have kids, and how can I do this and have kids and still be a good mom? And, what does that look like? And so, gosh, it's been 5 years now. I really started getting, he's like, it's all a blur. I really started getting into this.
Exactly 5 years, actually. September,
Yeah.
I think, was...
September I joined 5 years ago, exactly 5 years ago, but I didn't really start doing the business, I wouldn't say for real, until December of 2020, or December of 2015.
Around the corner,
Yeah, December of 2015.
5 years.
I went gold. Like December 2015, I was a gold ambassador. January, I was senior gold. February, I was a ruby. March, I was senior ruby. April, I was emerald. And so the roller coaster and the wild ride really started December of 2015. And I will never remember, I will always remember these words, honey. Always.
Uh-oh.
I will always remember him coming home from working, because in our previous life, as I call it, he worked about 80 hours a week at 3 different hospitals. And I remember him coming home from work, and I was working on some Plexus stuff, and it was probably about the time I was making $1,000 to $2,000 a month. So maybe I was between gold and senior gold. And he said, seems like you're spending an awful lot of time on this for the amount of money you're making. And I could have been offended or crushed or listened to that and been like, yeah, he's right. He can just go out and work a shift and make $1,000. I mean, why am I even doing this? Is this even worth it? But instead of getting snarky, I remember I didn't get snarky with you. I didn't get snotty with you or anything. I just put my head down and I went to work, and inside of myself, I had this feeling, well, I'm just going to prove to him that it's worth it. And I saw a vision for it, and I was like, if I can just get to a certain point, if I can just get that far, he's going to believe it. Like, and I think the only thing that I said to you is like, it's going to be worth it. I know it's going to pay off. It's going to take some time. And there's an upfront initial big investment. Like there really is when you're learning everything and you're growing and you're just like silver, gold, senior gold, ruby, and there's a lot to learn and you are putting in a lot of time. And if you were to divide the amount of money you're making every month by the amount of hours you're spending, and I'm not talking about the fluff hours where you're just wasting your time on social media. I'm talking about the actual intentional time that you're working. If you were to divide it in the beginning, it probably is not worth the hours that you're putting in. But it's an investment in the future if you intend to stick around and stay the course and stay on the path. And so that is basically what I told him, but I'll never remember. And so like, you know, let's take him back 5 years, honey. Let's take him back to your perception of what I was doing in the beginning and what you thought of it and why you didn't think it was worth my time.
Well, no,
no, come on now. You can be honest.
I'm not going to say I ever said it wasn't worth it. I did make the statement that, wow, it seems like you're spending an awful lot of time doing this. And, you know, I didn't have the future, you know, oriented view that she did. She had a vision of what she was going to achieve, both with, you know, the amount of people she was going to help and impact, and also, you know, the financial reward that she could see, you know, being that she had, for example, her sponsor had, you know, progressed several ranks ahead at this time, and she was starting to. They
were about like a $13,000 a month income.
You know,
level.
Get some more sort of vision of where she could be in a few more months, kind of thing. And I honestly didn't have all the background. I didn't have all the information. All I saw is what I saw. You know, I saw her just hitting it hard 3, 4, 5, 6 hours a day. And I saw some pretty small paychecks in the beginning with,
in my mind,
relative to the hours she was spending. I mean, it just looked like, gosh, you sure are working hard. And so far, it looks like maybe, I don't know, I could just go work another shift.
Right, which you were already working enough.
I was already at 80 to 90 hours a week, so I didn't really want to work another shift. But I
the only way to make more income, though, in what you were doing was to just...
Yeah, for me, see, the difference in the trajectory is basically in what I was doing as a physician, the only way to make more money is just to be gone another day, you know, work another shift. It's just a simple, you know, calculation.
Hourly equation.
There's no asymptotic increase of, you know, once you get over this certain threshold, then your pay kind of, you know, goes up asymptotically. As a physician, it's a linear relationship.
Yeah.
You work an hour, you get paid an hour. You work 2 hours, you know, it's always exactly the same. You know, that's what my work for 20 years has been. I have an hourly wage. I go to work. I work a shift.
But it was good income, and
no, and it's
he was looking
we're not
at
complaining,
me.
But I was looking at the way she was working, and I didn't feel like she was even getting that linear relationship. I felt like hers was real flat, like tons and tons of hours and a little bit of pay, you know.
Well, I was making I was making a pay increase because the speed at which I worked my business, I did make a pay increase every month. But I think that one of the underlying meanings of that discussion, if we're honest, is that whenever there's a shift in a household, it's felt, and it's a shift, and it's not that he's a bad guy or your husband is a bad guy or your partner or your kids are stinkers. That's not what it is. And so I didn't feel anger in any kind of pushback I got. I think that I understood, like, this is a shift. And so they're seeing me going from the mom that does everything. I always did all the dishes, loaded the dishwasher, did all the laundry, folded it all the same day, put it all away, swept the floors, mopped the floors. I always did all of the things, had dinner on the table ready to go at 6 or 6:30. And so that was what everybody had always known. And when I started working a business, maybe dinner wasn't ready at 6:30. Maybe I couldn't do all of the dishes. Maybe the laundry sat in a pile on the couch for a day. Like, maybe the bed didn't get made. Like, things like that.
And it's okay. Nobody died.
Nobody died.
It's all right.
But did you die, right? But did you die? That's what my tank says today. But to have compassion for your loved ones, looking back on retrospect, it is a shift. And you allow what you allow. So in my previous life, I didn't ask for help. I didn't have my children help me with anything in the house. I didn't really ask you for help. Not that you weren't willing to help. He's always been the kind of guy that's changed diapers and, if the dishes needed to be done, but I wasn't the person that was really asking for help. And so I got what I allowed. And then when things shifted, that was difficult. I mean, that was a transition from going to like having everything in place and having me just be ready for you when you came home and, just sitting on the couch, not doing anything, watching some Netflix or whatever, just waiting for my honey to come home, to he would come home and maybe I'd still be busting out some enrollments or working on some content or whatever. And that was an adjustment, right? It's an adjustment.
For sure. I mean, it's always going to be an adjustment in whatever way, at whatever speed. I mean, it's different. It's a change. And I think just having the ability to try to take a step back and look at, the possibilities of the future and have sort of some, goals, both, your own business goals as well as family goals and, sort of a little bit of a moment that you might take with your significant other or with your children and just kind of say, this is a family sort of goal that we have. This is what we want to look towards in the future. And we've always kind of, and I think this was what has helped us the most over the years, is we look at it as sort of a team approach. Mm-hmm. It's not, you do this and this is your thing, or I do this and this is my thing, and we'll just kind of try to, figure it out. It's been more of a team thing, both with she and I as well as the kids. And, with that perspective, with sort of the family, like this is our, family business. This is our family goal. This is how we as a family are going to make it work. Like, we figured it out. Not just, it wasn't just me that said, hey, I'm going to do all of this and all of that. Like, we also incorporated our kids into the process, and it's worked out. It's worked out great. It's a family thing, and we just used the team approach, but it wasn't overnight. I mean, it certainly wasn't overnight, and there's definitely adjustments along the way.
Yes.
So it's not that it's going to be overnight. You're going to make all the changes that are needed and figure out all the things. And that's okay. Like, hey, we've been into it 5 years and we still make adjustments and, try to figure stuff out. And
well, here's the thing.
It's all good. You just have to be, I think just the point I wanted to share, guys, is that you just have to be flexible, just have an open mind. You have to be willing to basically, I mean, I can't think of a better word than that. You have to be flexible. If you have just a certain kind of tunnel vision, like this is the only way it can be and it's going to be, and like that's not going to work. Not for really business,
not for
not
entrepreneurship,
for your family,
life.
You got to be flexible. You got to be flexible. And I think if you can involve your significant other and your family in your goals and kind of give them, hey, this is kind of what this, may look like in the future. Like, let's work for this, and hey, we can do this as a family. And if you can get buy-in from all the players, if you will, be it the significant other and your children, it's going to be way more pleasant and tolerable, and even like exciting. Like if they're like, oh, hey, Mom, are you at, gold this month? Hey, did you, because our kids will ask us that kind of stuff. Hey, did you get this?
How close
are we? Goal? Are we close? Like
family charts and stuff, the countdowns.
It's a team. I mean, and if you involve them, I think it makes all the difference, to be honest.
Yeah.
And flexibility.
And to be honest, I think if you look at our children, I think that a lot of moms, especially, maybe not so much dads, but moms feel a lot of guilt over, not being able to be the same person they were before they had a business. It's a common phenomenon in life. I just
Change.
Well,
Any change, right?
well, the way that I talk about it is I think that a lot of times we romanticize the past. And so we look at maybe what we used to be like as a mom, and we used to be able to get up and just like bake that day, and like just organize the closet, and go through the toys for the 5th time that month, and like we used to be able to go to Target and just like walk around Target for an hour and a half, and now you do grocery delivery. And Target delivery or whatever it is. And I think sometimes we have this romanticized idea of the past. And when I think about the past, I think there were great things about the past, but I don't romanticize it because I also remember the struggle, and I remember the loneliness, and I remember you always being gone, and I remember always feeling frustrated and anxious and tapped out because I was never asking for help, and I was doing everything on my own. And our kids were even starting to have some attitude and some entitlement issues. And when you look at our kids now, with me working, and he still works as a physician, but I feel like our kids have gone through an incredible transformation as far as their responsibility, their respectfulness, attitude, things like that. Maybe share a little bit of your perspective of how it has actually improved our children's lives.
Well, and I think cluing them into like big picture stuff, not just the goals like, hey, I want to be gold ambassador by this time, or Ruby, or whatever it is. I think beyond that, I think the thing that for us that was kind of contagious with our children was the actual process of, let's just call it personal development, right? Like setting goals, focusing on growth. And this type of business, entrepreneurship, network marketing, whatever you're doing, really allows itself for just infinite growth. I mean, if you really jump both feet in and you want to personally grow and be the best person you can be, like even if your husband, wife, significant other, children are naysayers in the beginning, nobody can argue with your personal growth. Nobody can argue with that. You can't argue with those results. So if you are improving and bettering yourself, that will be noticed, that will be seen. And I think those were some of the things that I later was able to kind of go, oh, wow, Brooke is really, growing as a person, as an individual, as a leader.
He either had to come along, or we were going to grow, or we were going to grow more apart.
You know what's
right?
And at the same time, like even like as crazy as things were, like I was like, wow, this is kind of cool. And I started. She didn't ask me to. She didn't say, hey, maybe you should do this. I started listening to like personal development podcasts and things like that. And then we'd have like another commonality that we could talk about. And then our children started, getting interested in personal development and goal setting.
Well, here's the thing with that.
It was kind of contagious, and it was kind of fun. And it was, it was like, it just kind of happened because Brooke had the idea that she was not only going to be all in with respect to a business, but she was going to really be all in with herself and her growth and her development. And I think that's just what's so awesome, is that cannot be denied. That effort that one is putting in themselves to grow and to change and to just be the best version of themselves, like you can't argue with that. And it's noticed. Whether or not you think it will be noticed, it will be noticed, and it's a great thing. It's awesome.
Well, and when you're talking about that, I was thinking about how I think, in the beginning of my business, probably like the first year of my business, I tried to kind of hide or minimalize what I was doing, or just like not really talk about it a ton with the kids. But as the years have gone on, we talk to them about everything. We talk to them about personal growth and development. We talk to them about business. We talk to them about money. We talk to them about goals. Like, we talk to them about all these things as if they're little miniature adults. And we're teaching them life skills that we're learning through being entrepreneurs, through having businesses, and through having to go through personal development. And it was a continuum. It's not like it started out this way. You guys might be at the beginning of this, and you might be like fighting against a lot of resistance, and you might be the only person in your household that like has any vision for this or feels like you get it. It's okay. Just keep going. And the thing that Thomas said that was really important is I wasn't like Bible bashing him over the head with like, oh, you need to read this book and you need to read that book. And if you would just listen to this podcast, you'd be enlightened. It wasn't that.
I saw by her example, like I said, you can't deny that. If you see that growth occurring in whoever it is, you're like, wow. Like,
what are they doing?
What did Brooke do? Like something's different about her. What did, it's just, that kind of stuff can't be refuted. Like if you are doing what you can do, what's within your scope, within your power to be the best version of yourself, that's awesome. Like keep doing that.
It's
like,
going to attract.
Don't let anybody put that down. Like you are crushing it.
Yeah.
And eventually hopefully the people you love and care about will either come along, or if they're not people you love and care about, they'll drop off. You know what I mean? Like one of the two is going to happen, but you can always be, I think,
it takes a lot of
self-assured,
loving kindness.
and you can always be comfortable, I guess,
yes,
with what you are personally doing. If your own, personal goals and desires are just to be the best freaking version of yourself possible and a little bit better today than you were yesterday, like screw the naysayers. Like who the frick cares? Like you are doing what you can do to, be the best version of yourself. That's not only going to help you in the end, your family's going to benefit, obviously, your kids, your spouse, significant other, whatever. Like that kind of crap nobody can take away from you.
And it's not like you're saying to your family, screw you.
No,
he's talking
not at
about
all
the people on the outside. I think in the family dynamic sense is like you don't need to get into an arguing match with them. No. With your spouse or your mother or your kids or whatever about why what you do is valid. You just need to keep reading the books, listening to the podcasts, doing the coaching, doing the personal development, continue to move forward in your business. And I say this sometimes like sort of kind of as a joke, but it's a real thing. Okay.
What part's the joke?
Money talks. Money talks.
Especially for the dude, right? If they don't see any little
so I'm gonna
dollar
speak,
sign, they're like,
I'm gonna speak a little truth to the women here in this group. Is that sometimes your loved one is fed up and over it because you keep saying you're gonna do the darn thing and you never do. You keep saying, oh honey, it's gonna be amazing. But you're hot and you're cold and you're in and you're out. And sometimes you're crushing it and then you're gone for a couple weeks or you're gone for a month. And so you don't have consistency in your business. So you're not getting the results. And they're not seeing you make progress and you keep saying you're going to do something and you don't. And so they start to lose faith in you. They start to lose faith in the opportunity and they love you. But the other thing that happens is like, listen, honestly, and you've seen me go in and out of emotional states. Like, honestly, if you're not showing up and doing the things that you need to do and experiencing because of those actions and that faith and those and those prayers and that work, that hard work, you're not seeing the result that you want to see because you haven't done those things. And what does it do to your mood? It makes you depressed. It makes you feel detached. It makes you unhappy. How does that affect your home life? How does that affect your family? Your husband doesn't like that. Your kids don't like that. Your loved one doesn't like that. And so there's a whole heaping bit of personal accountability here. And it's not in the form of judgment or shame. It's like literally, I'm telling you my experience, because the way that I felt about myself because of possibly, my lack of showing up and doing the things that I said I would do, or if I wasn't producing, or if you're not producing and you keep telling your loved one, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, but they're watching you and you're just pissing away time on Netflix, like that they don't really respect that. They don't really, like, that's not really, like, they look at that and they're like, but you told me you were going to do this. And you've told me you were going to do this for 4 years. When are you actually going to do it? And so one day I had to just like wake up and be like, well, I mean, if I'm going to bring this defeated, depressed, negative energy into my house every day because of something that's going on in my business or not going on in my business, like, I mean, I can't expect my partner or my family to love what I'm doing. And I'm not have to make time for the dates, make time for the connection, make time to go and do something with your family. And I'll be honest with you, and Thomas as well, he knows I work full time. Like, I work full time. I have my Plexus businesses and 3 other businesses. And so I work full time. So it's really important for me on a Friday night or a Saturday night, especially recently, like, I'm just sitting on the couch, snuggling with my babies, watching a movie, like doing things like that, or being like, yeah, let's just decide to go to the bike park and go to Billy Blanco's. Like, let's just do that today. Why not? So giving your family that time, it doesn't have to be hours and hours every day. I'm not saying you have to roll around on the carpet with your babies for 4 hours a day to be a good mom, but
it's just all about, I think, being intentional. And the more that you are sort of, I think, paying attention to this kind of thing in your own personal growth and development in your business, I think you can't help but get better at these tasks of, say, organizational skills, using a calendar, mapping out your day, mapping out your week. I mean, it's funny, but we'll not only like map out the day, like, what the plan is for the day, but we'll kind of map out the week, and we'll map out, the month, and where we want to be in 6 to 12 months. And like, Brooke's always kind of been a planner, so she's had that little bit of an edge, but I've never really been a planner that much, except for long-term plans, right?
Yeah.
I was going to go to college. I was going to go to medical school. I was going to be a doctor. And then it's like, okay, now I'm the doctor. Now I just put my head down and I just go to work every day,
Yeah.
And what was cool about this whole growth that we've done together, which largely happened as, we got serious about, really, it all started with Plexus, right? And the business opportunity. We actually started looking at the future, not only with business goals, but with family goals and personal goals. We just couldn't help ourselves. We got on the, personal development journey, and it's been awesome for us individually, for us as a couple.
Not because I did this.
For us
Get
as
on the journey with me.
No, I just watched her. Like I said earlier, like, the actions speak for themselves. You can't deny if somebody is doing their best to be the best person that they can be, like, you can't argue with that. You notice it. People will notice, and maybe it might not be immediately, but maybe they'll want to do some personal development themselves at some point. Maybe not tomorrow or a week from now, but eventually it's kind of like, hey, that's whatever she's doing, she's happier, she's more focused. She doesn't just sit down and watch one show and then 2 and then 3 and then the whole binge watch season.
I used to.
But now she has a plan. Like, she sets aside, she's going to do this, and then, hey, we're going to have family time for this, and then I got to get on a couple more calls after that. And then, like, watching the progress and development of just sort of how this happens, but it's over months and years. It's not
the word that comes to my mind.
Minutes to hours. It's just the continual, day after day, personal growth, getting a little bit better, being a little bit better version today than you were yesterday. And you got to be flexible. You got to make arrangements, adjustments. Yes. It's not
I want to tell them about
overnight, for sure.
I want to tell them about something that back a couple years ago, 2 years ago, when we realized things were out of balance, and I was really overworking. I was a workaholic. I was dealing with a lot of feelings of scarcity, like I was not enough in anything, like I sucked at everything, like everything good in my life was going to come to an end, including my business, my marriage, like all this type of stuff. And I was self-sabotaging by working a lot. And I had just had a baby, and I think there was some postpartum going on in there, and things weren't jiving. And we had a period of time that was difficult, and we weren't jiving. And I remember you being really frustrated with me, understandably so. And when you were talking, I was thinking about compassion. Like, the one thing I was grateful to have was compassion. Like, I felt compassion for myself, that I was struggling with these feelings and this numbing myself with work, and also compassion for him, that he was struggling, and like he just wanted me, and I wasn't there. I wasn't really there. And I remember you saying, I just need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. And you were telling me the things that you needed. And inside I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't give that to you right now. But I remember saying to you, please be patient with me. Like, please be patient with me. I'm trying. Like, I know I told you every single night at 10 o'clock, but please be patient with me. I'm doing the best that I can do. And you were patient with me because I communicated that to you. And I was like, I can't do rigid. And maybe you guys are like me. Maybe you're like, I can't do rigid. And when you're an entrepreneur, it's really, really hard to do rigid. And you heard him talk about flexibility. He didn't used to feel that way about flexibility. He used to want like 10 o'clock.
Hey, I'm on the journey too,
right? I mean? but it's evolved. And I could have been just pissed at him because he was like demanding this time at 10 o'clock. Or I could just be like, I could just look at him and say, I am really trying. I'm trying so hard. If you get really rigid on me, I'm just going to rebel. And I'm going to push back because I'm a little bit of a fiery one, as you guys know. But I was like, you can't be super rigid with me. But I promise you, I know my shortcomings. I know the things I need to change. And I promise you, I am trying. Can you be patient with me? And because of that communication, he was able to be patient with me. And we were able to make adjustments. And it's been such a journey. And I am so... Actually, like when I look back, I hope you feel the same way, but I'm so grateful for all of the struggle and all of the growth and all the things that we had to learn about each other and about parenting and about how to raise kids and do this at the same time. Such a struggle and such a journey, but I feel like we live our lives more awake. We love each other deeper. We love our children and see the potential in them even more. And I feel like so many couples and so many people go through their lives numb. I feel like they just go through their lives. They go through the motions. They work their 9 to 5, their 9 to 6. They're never faced with the opposition or the opportunity to grow. And if you will just stay the course, keep working your business, even if there is some contention or some disharmony in your house, and maybe take a few of these things that we've talked about, compassion, don't be a roller coaster. If you say you're going to do something, keep your promises so that your family can respect that. If you are totally diving into work and being a workaholic, can you take accountability for that? And can you set aside date night? Can you set aside 30 minutes every day? Can you set aside a special thing you do every Friday night? What can you do? We're not saying like, hey, get it all together right now. We're saying hey, it's a continuum.
Journey. I mean, we haven't. Don't let Brooke fool you. We haven't got it all figured out yet. We're just as much on the journey today as we were 5 years ago. But we've certainly been through things that have helped us to grow. And growth is and can be painful. Sometimes it's easier to live kind of numb and just kind of like doing the whatever, going through the motions, but it's also the richness and fullness of life you're kind of missing out too. So you know, there's definitely an ebb and a flow, and there's a balance, and you know,
Yeah.
there's some pain with growth, and that's okay. On the other side of it, there's also joy. You know, and who would even know what joy was if you didn't have pain? Like, you got to have both. Like, it's
Yes.
okay.
Yes. You
But
gotta
it's a
have both.
process,
You
it's a
gotta be
journey, and
flexible.
you just got to keep moving forward. You know, just a little bit at
Compassion
a
for
time.
each
Be
other.
for yourselves too. Have
Yep.
compassion for yourselves, and that was something I think we both struggled with, you know, from time to time, because we're just, you know, we were on that kind of like
And asking for help, asking for what you need, and asking for help from your children, from your partner, from your spouse. Like, nobody needs to be a martyr in this situation. You, your kids, your husband, like, don't let yourself or them slip into victim mentality. You know, teach your family members to ask for what they need, and teach yourself how to ask for what you need, because you can't do it all on your own. I really do believe that you can have it all, but you can't have it all by yourself, doing everything by yourself. You need to ask for help, and that might take some time, because maybe some of you have a partner that's just maybe not really that way, and so they might take a couple years to catch on to that, or you might end up having one of your kids sort of be your right hand person and your helper, and you know, just patience with the process. And hopefully we've brought a little bit of wisdom to this as a couple, that, you know, we've been very successful in this business. We've done so much personal growth and development, and it has changed our dynamic and our family dynamic forever, in ways that I am grateful for. And there are things that we're still working on. So we don't profess to be perfect, like Thomas said, but we're on the journey.
we're on the journey,
and we just wanted to share that today, and hope that
Yeah.
this message and these ideas can bless you guys in your relationships and in your family, because there's no reason that you have to give up your dream. And there's also no reason that your family can't be happier and better off because of the choices you're making with your business. So have a great day, you guys.